How can you flick on a woman's good girl switch in a relationship where she gains pleasure and happiness out of being a good woman for you? There are so many different examples I can give you on how to flick on that good girl switch, and in this video I'm going to give you 2 examples to give you an introduction to how it works. Let's begin with number 1. Lovingly expect more of her. Some guys approach their relationship with a woman by going to one extreme or the other. One extreme is where a guy is doing way too much for his woman. He essentially wants to do everything for her and make her life as easy as possible. He fears that if he puts any pressure on her to be a good woman for him, then she's going to be unhappy and she's going to leave him, right? She's going to start threatening to break up with him. She's going to start kicking up a fuss, and he's not going to know how to handle that. So he just gives and gives and gives, and he doesn't ever really get back what he wants from her, right? He doesn't get the affection, the love, the respect that he deserves and that he wants. On the other end of the spectrum, some guys demand that their woman be good to them, and they get angry about that. They get frustrated about it. They get into arguments with their woman and try to force her into being a better woman by belittling her, pointing out her flaws, getting angry, kicking up a fuss, and so on. That approach doesn't work either. That approach doesn't flick on a woman's good girl switch. The way to do it is to lovingly expect more of her. So what's an example of how it works? Well, imagine that a couple are sitting on the couch and the guy wants a coffee. He can go and make the coffee himself, and there's no problem with that. But he can also get her to make the coffee and make her feel happy about doing it, right? He can actually make her feel happy about doing those sort of things for him and gain pleasure by doing it, right? It makes her feel happy to be that attentive and caring towards him. Now, every woman is different, so not every woman is going to react in the same way if her boyfriend or husband asks her to make him a coffee for the first time, if he's never done that before, right? If he's never been sitting next to her on a couch and just asked her to do something for him like that. So if a man is in the habit of making a coffee for himself and then he asks his woman to do it for him, sometimes a woman will be like, cool, okay, I'll go and make it for you. But sometimes a woman will say, why? And sometimes a woman will say, no. Right? Sometimes a woman will say, make it yourself, or I'm busy, or I'm checking something on my phone, you go and do it. There are going to be all different types of responses and reactions. So I'll skip over the easy reaction, which is you just ask her and she does it, and I'll deal with the more difficult one where she says no. So a man is sitting next to his woman on the couch. He then asks her to make him a coffee. Hey honey, can you go and make me a coffee? Thanks. She then says no, and he says, come on, go make me a coffee. I'd do it for you if you asked me. Come on, go make me a coffee. She then says no again. What is he going to do at that point? Well, what he needs to do is let her see that she is missing out on making him a coffee and getting to feel good emotions as a result. How can he do that? Well, that happens a little bit later. For now, he should go and make the coffee and not make a fuss about it. Just say, okay, cool, I'll make it myself, and go and make a coffee. He should then come back, sit down, and enjoy the coffee. Not make a big deal out of it. In some cases, a woman will apologize and say that she will do it next time. But in other cases, she won't say anything and she'll just get on with the evening. Then the next night, if they're sitting on the couch watching TV together again, he can ask her once again. Okay, honey, can you make me a coffee tonight? Go make me a coffee. She then says no. And he says, well, thanks for nothing then. All right, I'll make it myself. He then makes the coffee himself. Now, the thing is, if he is making her feel respect and attraction for him in the relationship, then she is going to start to feel a little bit bad about not doing that for him, right? She's going to start to think, well, he's not reacting in a negative way. He's not sulking. He's not getting angry. He's not complaining and kicking up a fuss when I refuse to do something for him. He's being loving about it. He's expecting more from her, but he's being loving about it, right? He's not being an arsehole about it. He's not being controlling and so on. So she's going to start to feel like she is in the wrong. And most women are going to want to start to do that for their man if he asks her to do it. So the next time he asks her to make a coffee, she's most likely going to do it. And at that point, he can then make her feel good about doing something for him. For example, if she says, okay, fine, I'll make the coffee, and she gets up to make him a coffee, he can then say something like this. Nice, now we're talking. I knew the loving you was in there somewhere. Now get in there and make me a coffee. When she comes back with the coffee and puts it down, the guy can stand up and grab her, give her a bit of a kiss and maybe a spank on the butt as well, and say thank you. As a result of approaching it in that way, she is almost certainly going to laugh, smile, feel respect for him, and more importantly, feel sexual attraction for him, right? She's going to feel sexually attracted to the fact that he can get her to do something for him and she feels good about it. Why is that attractive? Well, that type of behavior from a man transfers over into the bedroom. It makes a woman feel excitement and anticipation about what may happen in the bedroom between them. The guy might be able to have the confidence to tell her to do something for him and make her feel good about it, right? He has that type of confidence, which is magnetically attractive to women. Something important to point out now is that every man out there doesn't have to tell his woman to make him a coffee. That's not the point. It's about lovingly expecting more from your woman. You can lovingly expect more from her in so many ways, right? It's not just about sitting on the couch and saying, get your butt off the couch, make me a coffee, go make me some food, and come back and give me a foot massage, right? It's not about ordering her around like that. However, it is about understanding that when you approach your relationship with a woman in a way where you expect her to be good to you, it actually makes her want to be good to you. Of course, as long as you do it in a loving way. It's not about demanding things of her and saying, hey, I do all these things for you, you should do this for me. It's not about that. It's not about tit for tat. Instead, it's about lovingly expecting more of your woman. For example, you can lovingly expect her and get her to show more affection, be more caring and attentive, be more patient with you about certain things, take more care of her physical appearance around you, appreciate the nice things you do for her, make more of an effort in the relationship in ways that you would appreciate, treat you with the respect that you deserve, and show you love in the way that you enjoy the most. Another thing to point out here is that when your woman does something for you that is out of character, where she is being extra nice to you, extra attentive, caring, and so on, you don't always have to stand up, give her a hug, give her a kiss, and give her a spank on the butt. You don't have to make a big deal out of it. Instead, what really excites a woman and makes her want to do it more and more is where you vary your reactions and responses. For example, where a woman makes a coffee for her man, he doesn't always have to stand up and give her a hug. Instead, sometimes he'll just say thanks, take the coffee, and get on with what he was doing. Sometimes he'll take the coffee and then say a joke to her like, all right, go make some food now, make yourself useful. And other times he might jokingly complain about the temperature of the coffee, saying that it's too hot or too cold, and so on, right? He'll create a moment between himself and his woman where she can feel some attraction for him. So when she does something good for him, there is always the potential that she's going to feel a burst of sexual attraction for him, a rush of sexual attraction for him. It's going to build up the sexual tension between him and her, which is going to more naturally lead to her being affectionate and them having sex on a more regular basis. Now compare that to a guy who doesn't want to expect anything of his woman, right? He doesn't want to push her in any way to do anything. Instead, he just wants to give and give and give, or he wants to have a 50-50 relationship where they're just more like partners or friends, roommates, housemates, and so on. With those type of relationship dynamics, it does not bring out a woman's good girl side. It does not make her feel motivated to be affectionate, attentive, loving, and so on. So while every man out there doesn't have to tell his woman to make him a coffee, what he does need to understand is that it makes women feel attracted, excited, and in love when a man can make her feel like she wants to be good to him. She wants to do good things for him. And when she does, she ends up getting a rush of sexual attraction out of it. She ends up feeling attracted to his confidence. In some cases, they end up laughing together. In some cases, they end up hugging and kissing, and so on. What happens then is her good behavior becomes linked to affection, to sex, and to deeper and more exciting feelings of love between her and her man. Number 2, address her bad behavior in a loving, supportive way. Everyone makes mistakes in a relationship, and everyone has an opportunity to become a better person than they already are. the same applies to her. Sometimes she will say or do something that may really annoy you. You may think, how dare she say that? How dare she behave in that way? It may cause you to lose control of your emotions in one way or another. Yet, if you want to flick on her good girl switch and make her treat you better and better and better over time, the best approach is to directly address her bad behavior, but do it in a loving, supportive way. For example, imagine that your girlfriend or wife says or does something that annoys you. Rather than getting angry at her and getting into an argument that becomes a huge bit of drama between you and her, the best approach to take is to maintain control of your emotions and directly address her bad behavior in a loving, supportive way. You don't have to do that all the time. Sometimes it's totally fine to get a bit frustrated at your woman and let her know about that. However, if you want your relationship to get better and better over time, it's important for you as the man to get better and better at maintaining control of your emotions so she doesn't have that ability to push you over the edge emotionally, right? She can't just say something and make you angry because you're stronger than that. You can maintain control of your emotions because you're not intimidated by her and you're not triggered by her words or behavior. You maintain control of your emotions in a way that only a real man can, and as a result, she feels a deep respect and attraction for you. So if she says or does something that would normally annoy you or frustrate you, say something like this instead. Hey, that wasn't cool. You're usually a great woman, but no, I don't like that. That wasn't cool. Or something like this. Well, I'm disappointed with you based on that. I know that you can be a much better girl than you're being right now. That isn't cool. Now compare that to addressing her behavior in a way that isn't loving and is going to cause more problems. Why'd you say that for? Why are you talking to me like that? You need to stop this. Talking to her in that way isn't going to flick on a woman's good girl switch. What you want to do is be loving and supportive when you give her some feedback on her behavior that you're not liking or appreciating. When she can see that you are maintaining control of your emotions and you're giving her the benefit of the doubt, she's usually a good woman, but you don't like that she's saying this or that, then she can see that you're not just looking at the negatives, right? You're looking at her as a woman that you love and appreciate, and you can see that she isn't normally like that. And as a result, she then feels like the one who has stuffed up in that moment. Of course, depending on the woman, in a moment like that, she may or may not admit that she is in the wrong. If she doesn't admit that she is in the wrong and doesn't accept that she has been behaving badly or said something that was out of line, she will realize that later when she has a chance to think about it. She will replay the scene over in her mind again, and she will realize that she was out of line and you didn't react badly, right? You gave her the benefit of the doubt, you maintained control of your emotions, and you gave her the feedback on her bad behavior in a loving, supportive way. Then as soon as you see that she has improved her behavior or is talking better to you, thank her for that, right? Give her feedback on that as well. Let her know that you have noticed that she is treating you better, that she is talking to you in a more respectful, loving way. For example, if you're sitting next to her on the couch and she shows you the improved behavior or talks to you in the improved way, you can then thank her for that. Thanks, honey. I appreciate that you're not reacting in the same way you used to. That's much better, thank you. If you want to spice up the moment right there and then and not make it too soppy and romantic, you can add in a bit of a joke, which is kind of serious at the same time. Alright, well anyway, make yourself useful and go make me a coffee. Get in there. You can then have a laugh with her about that. It doesn't really matter if she goes and makes the coffee for you, but you can turn it into more of a playful moment between you and her by jumping on top of her and tickling her on the couch and so on. You and her end up laughing and having a great moment together. So when she becomes a better woman for you, it's a good feeling for her, rather than her doing something better for you and you then saying something like this. Well, finally you've changed. Well, that wasn't hard, was it? Instead, you make her changing and becoming a better woman for you feel good. She then wants to become a better and better and better woman for you over time. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this video and learned something from it. If you'd like to learn more about how to flick on a woman's good girl switch in a relationship, then I recommend that you watch or listen to my program, Make Her Love You for Life. Everything that you learn in this 10-hour video or audio program flicks on a woman's good girl switch. Everything that I teach in the program makes a woman become a better and better woman for you over time. It also makes a woman respect you, feel sexually attracted to you, and be totally in love with you for life. One final point that I want to make for you in this video is that there are different approaches that you can take with your relationship which will bring out a different side of your woman. For example, if a guy takes the approach of doing too much for his woman, he might create a relationship dynamic where no matter what he does for her, it's never enough, right? She wants more and more and more, and she gives less and less over time. Additionally, the position that she's in the relationship where he's always trying to do things for her and live up to her expectations makes her lose respect for him, and as a result, she stops feeling sexually attracted to him. Then she starts to withhold sex and not want sex, and the relationship isn't fun for either of them. On the other hand, a guy might take an approach to the relationship where he is being neutral towards his woman. He treats her more like a housemate or roommate, and there isn't that dynamic between them where she is his girl and he is the man. He doesn't want to create that type of relationship dynamic. It makes him feel uncomfortable to do any of those sort of things, so he just wants to be neutral with her. As a result, the sexual spark just isn't there between them, and they feel more like friends than anything else. A relationship like that can continue on for quite a while, but it's not going to be truly enjoyable for either of them. The man won't get to experience a woman who is very affectionate and sexual towards him, and she won't get to experience being that type of girl for him. Instead, they'll just end up feeling more like friends, and that can become very boring over time and lead to a breakup or a divorce. The best approach to take in a relationship turns out to be the easiest approach to use. Right? It's practically effortless on your part when you bring out a woman's good girl side. When you approach it in that way, the relationship is so much easier. She gets what she wants, which is to be happy and in love and being a good woman for her man, and you get what you want, which is a loving, affectionate, attentive woman. As a result, both you and her don't feel any need to ever break up because your relationship is getting better and better over time. It's becoming more and more enjoyable, and you're falling more and more in love over time.